Hello guys, Raforex here. So today I'll be doing a recorded episode for Technical Tuesdays, and we'll be going over two of my pairs, the pairs that I trade the most. And these two pairs are gold, obviously, and then USD. So first of all, let's start off with gold, right? Let's take a look at gold. So yes, last week, right, where we saw gold on a free fall to the downside, right, all the way from we had price at 1875, rolled down all the way to 1780, right? 1780. I was able to call this trade out for the community members. I was able to take this trade myself. Our first trade was after the break of this structure. The second trade was this scaling right here into 1780. So now what's next for gold, right? What's next for gold? Well, we're looking to see if we can get a continuation of the trend to the upside, right? We're looking to see maybe we could get a continuation of the bullish trend to the upside. If we take a look at the daily time frame real quick, let's go to the daily time frame real quick, and you can see that this is a bullish trend, and this is more like a correction. We're within a corrective phase altogether. We've never minded that, right? Never minding that. We can also see previously looking at gold, you can see the momentum that we've been seeing to the upside, right? You can see this huge momentum drive to the upside, breaking out of this structure, breaking above these equal highs, all right, pushing that to the upside. Now our same price retrace, and we could see possible continuations to the upside. If continuations to the upside fail, then we'll see a rollover to the downside. What is looking more favorable right now, technically, from a technical standpoint, is continuations to the upside. Now look, we're back on the 4-hour time frame, right? We can see this low of this level here, 1785, right? 1785. We see price coming. We saw price coming to there once, retested once, third time, fourth time, right? So we're seeing price throwing a lot of wicks into this level, a lot of wicks. We've seen 1780 spiked into 1785, spiked into, and we're seeing bullish momentum off of this level, right? We're seeing a lot of bullish momentum coming off of this level, 1, 2, 3, and now for the fourth time. So something that will kind of give us a confirmation that, okay, price wants to go parabolic out to the upside. Let's say we want to see that pop back up to the upside, right? We could see this high taken out, and this is yesterday's high, right? So we will see previous day's high taken out. We could eventually see price run up. We're looking for levels of here around 1830, definitely around 1830. We're looking for price to come into 1830, possibly break out and go a lot further, right? Let's look at the weekly. Let's look at the weekly to kind of give an idea of what the long-term perspective or the long-term outlook personally, the long-term outlook I have personally on gold. The long-term outlook I have personally on gold is to see gold come all the way up to 1950, right? Where we have all these highs, where we see all these price action wicks popping into that level. So this is a good level of liquidity because of all these wicks that are into this level, right? We know that gold has drawn liquidity from this level, right? So it makes sense for if price wants to pop to the upside, you know, 1950 could be a good level to take liquidity from. So that's what I'm looking at currently. Sitting here looking at gold, that's what I'm looking at gold. On the 4-hour again, we can see the kind of candlesticks we are seeing right now, coming from overnight Asia, seeing bullish momentum on these 4-hour candles. So let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. And if we don't get that push into the upside, then obviously we want to see price start rolling over to the downside. But for now, we're sitting with the bullish momentum. We're sitting with the bullish bias for now on gold. Let's go over to GBP/USD. Let's quickly look at GBP/USD. GBP/USD has been tricky for me. It's been difficult for me to trade GBP/USD over the last 2 weeks, I would say, right? I've been getting washed out of GBP/USD. I've taken 2 trades on GBP/USD in the past 2 weeks, and I've lost good trades. But with gold, I've still maintained like a nice success rate with gold, right? I think I have a 100% strike rate on gold over the last 2 weeks, and I have 0% strike rate on GBP/USD over the last 2 weeks. So it is what it is. But GBP/USD now could probably start shaping up for something nice, right? But let's dissect it technically, and then we'll go over some brief fundamental things that we should consider. Some little fundamental events that we should consider, right? So let's look at GBP/USD and let's break it down, right? Let's break it down as simple as we can. First of all, we are seeing GU in, let's go to the daily time frame, right? We're seeing GU in the downtrend right now, right? We're seeing make a series of lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And for me, what that's doing is I feel like it's stacking a lot of liquidity to the upside. I feel like it's stacking a lot of liquidity to the upside because it's becoming too easy for sellers, right? It's becoming too easy for sellers. The market pulls back, you're getting on the sell and whatnot. But then again, right? A lot of people might be anticipating the reversal and stuff like that. When it comes to GU and when I see price action doing this, where is to me it's stacking a lot of liquidity to the upside or to the downside or in a particular direction. What I start looking for is the reversal trades because the reversal trades tend to be like very huge. But currently, what we are seeing with the new strain of coronavirus and whatnot, right? The UK might go into lockdown again, which might not be so good for the pound. So technically, I'm expecting like a reversal on GBP/USD, which means I'm expecting GBP/USD to the pound. I'm expecting the pound to gain strength and the dollar to weaken, right? Now, looking at this new strain of coronavirus and whatnot that might be coming out, obviously it's going to affect both economies, right? Because of if they start taking measures like lockdowns and all of that, right? If they start going into lockdowns and whatnot, we could then see like a weak pound against the dollar, and the GU for the GU downtrend might continue. But technically right now, right, if we look at what price is doing right now, price is still in a downtrend. There's no strong confirmation or there's no strong bullish confirmation yet that we can take into consideration and be like, okay, we should be buying this market. So for now, I'm more hands off from GBP/USD, and I'm looking to capitalize more on gold. But what I will break down, I will still break down GBP/USD. So even if the short, the downtrend still continues, right? At least we'll still be able to like maybe get a few trades out of GBP/USD. So right now I'm on the hourly time frame, right? Let me look at the 4-hour first. Let's break down the 4-hour first. Let's break down some levels we are looking at. So first psychological level I want to point out is this level, this high here, 1.351. 1.351 here, this level, I mark this level out because this was the previous week's high, right? So the previous week, Monday, we printed this high on Monday, Tuesday. I can't remember the day exactly, but that was when price made this high. So this was the highest price. 1.351 was the highest price GBP/USD made last week. 1.32800 was the lowest price. So now we are within a weekly range. We have the previous week's range. The previous week's range is 1.351 and 1.328. The high 1.351, the low 1.328. So we see that we are still within the previous week's range, right? And now if we say where is the momentum going to go for this week, right? Then we'll be looking for this range, the previous week's range. We're looking to expand out of that range. Now, when I say expand out of that range, I'm simply talking about a breakout from that range, right? So if we are going to continue to the downside, I want to see GBUSD breakout of this break below 1.32800, right? If we break out below this level, then I'll be looking for a weaker GPUSD. On the other hand, if we break above this level, I'll be looking for maybe a new form of strength, bullish momentum on GPUSD, right? But for right now, let's break down some things we can clearly see, maybe to give us some intraday trades rather than swing trades, right? So right now, what we can see here is I've marked out the previous day's high. Now, this is also how we can get to like mark out daily liquidity, weekly liquidity, and all of that, right? We have the previous week's low, we have the previous day's low. So this is yesterday's low, this is Monday's low, this is Monday's high. So now we are within a range as well. We are within a range, and this is a 60 pip range, right? Monday's high, Monday's low. Today is Tuesday, we are within that range. Now, I want to know if we are going to be expanding to the downside, right? If we break out of this low, then there's a high probability that we'll break out of the previous week's low and continue to the downside. On the other hand, if we break above the previous week's high, right? If we break above the previous week's high, then we could continue all the way to 1.315. 1.351, sorry. Now, what we have to take into consideration here is the fact that this market is in a downtrend and it's creating a lot of bearish setups that are easy to spot, right? Easy to spot. And looking back at the market, right, it has been respecting those levels, it has been respecting those setups quite easily, right? Quite easily. So I'm on the fence when it comes to like selling GBUSD right now until we get a breakout below here. And I won't want to buy GBUSD until we get a breakout above here, right? So right now I'm sitting within this range and I'm waiting for price to expand out of this range. If I'm to say, okay, we're looking at maybe a possible reversal on GBUSD, right? If we're looking at a possible reversal on GBUSD, maybe to the upside, right? It will be because of the fact of, let's say, price retested this this support level. Let's call this a support level. This was previous support, now turned resistance, right? So when price breaks out of the support level, initially it turns into resistance, right? So we've seen this level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? Now we saw the push down, we saw the push, we saw this push again, right? Technically, the way we trade, we like to look for where the inducement is, right? So let's say you're looking at possible sells on GBUSD, right? A lot of people will be calling this level, right? This was acting as support, it got broken again, acting as resistance. Now, a lot of people want to take shots from here, which is fine, right? Because the way the market is going now, like I said, these setups are easily respected, right? Because of the fundamentals right now, the way things are going on right now in the world, the new COVID variant and whatnot, right? We're expecting GBUSD to be weak. So it might continue to keep falling, right? So taking a sell, taking these easy setups is not bad at all. Me, I'll be looking for further confirmations, right? And setups that I'm more comfortable with. What I like to see when I see something like this is people being washed out. I like to see sellers getting washed out, right? So maybe a push above here, and then a push above here. And then I would start looking for longs, maybe. Maybe by then it will be too late. Maybe by then it will be a good entry, right? But this will be what will technically want me to take buys on GBUSD, right? And again, just like I said, if I'm looking to target liquidity, I'll be looking to target maybe the previous week's high, right? Just because that's a good level of liquidity, right? So if you look here, you see that price is making a lot of price on his way to this downside. Price is making a lot of lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? So to me, that's a sign of stacking liquidity, right? Like we can see there's liquidity above here, there's liquidity above here, above here, above here, and above here as well. Right. So what does all this liquidity probably mean? It probably means like when we're talking about liquidity, we're talking about maybe in the sense when we're talking about liquidity, we're talking about maybe stop losses, right? So let's say if you were selling this market, right, and you're expecting the market to keep falling, let's say you want to trail your stop loss, right? You trail your stop loss above, you put your stop loss above the previous lower high or swing high or whatnot. So let's say a lot of people have stop above this high, or this high, right? Or even these highs. So people have their stop losses above these highs, right? So what we're trying to look for is the stop runs, right? So let's say we see this sort of price action, this pop to the upside, and then this push into this level. Let's say price refuses to make that low, then we could be looking to like maybe take our entries from here, you know, take our first profit off when this gets hit, and then just hold to 1.351. So this is what I'm looking for on GPUSD. If I don't get this setup, I won't be convinced to trade short until we get a breakout of this previous day's low and the previous week's low. Then we can look for lower prices on GU as well. So this is my outlook for GPUSD, is my outlook for GPUSD and gold as well. Gold, there's one minor detail that we could also add in there. Going back to gold, if we go to the monthly time frame real quick, and let's take a scroll back to March of 2020 when we first had coronavirus, and then when we got introduced to lockdowns and all of that. So March 2020, right? We can see, boom, okay. We see, you can see how the month is, right? This was like an indecision candle. And then June, April, January, February, March, April, right? April, the next month, right? So this is when we got introduced to lockdowns and whatnot. Now we can see that this was positive for gold, right? People were moving money back into gold. The economy, they were moving money back into gold, right? Because of, you know, other businesses and whatnot were not producing as much. So people were putting their money back into gold. And we can see how that played out for the price, right? During all the lockdown and whatnot, we had bullish prices on gold up until August, September, and all of that, right? Now we see the whole correction. And now saying that we have a second variant of the virus, right? If we start imposing lockdowns and whatnot, maybe that could be positive for gold again, and we could see, you know, maybe gold rally again to the upside until maybe they start easing up on the lockdown and whatnot. So maybe that's a valid point. Maybe it's not a valid point, but it's something to consider, right? That's why the time frames are there for you to look at. Different time frames are there for you to look at. So gold, that's my bias for gold. Looking for possible longs if we break above this high. If we break above this high, I'll start looking for longs. GBUSD, same thing, right? GBUSD, if we break above GPUSD, if we break above that interim hourly high and the previous day's high, I'll start looking for longs as well. GPUSD. Okay, so this is the end of this technical Tuesday.